Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Sheehan. This is the second in our series of shows called Behind Closed Doors, Lessons from 40 plus years of shrinking heads. It's my attempt to take all the sessions I did and share with the world, with all you guys, what I've learned, because it was just so special. I think probably the first and most important thing I learned is that the human race is really magnificent. I mean, I've at least 100,000 times I've sat with people either behind closed doors or in other situations and talked to them about their lives and their problems and their issues. And over again, I found magnificent human beings struggling to find the right thing, to do the right thing, to try to be the right people. About 1 in 20 lacked character. Character is the abiding disposition to inhibit impulses and self-seeking in the light of a regulative principle of behavior. And these 1 in 20 make it terrible for the rest of us. Just the other day, I went out to get a cup of coffee, and I'd gone to the bank and gotten some cash for myself, and I had 50s, and I handed the girl what I thought was a $50 bill, and it turns out I'd handed her 3 of them that were stuck together and wasn't really looking or paying much attention. She handed me 2 50s back and said, "Here, you gave me too much." I never would have known if she put it in her pocket or put it in the register. And this is the nature of human beings. We're good people. I trust the human race. What I don't trust is we don't know each other very well, and we don't know ourselves very well. That's the one huge lesson of 50 years of doing this kind of work, that human beings just really aren't very good at self-reflection. Everything we do focuses out. Our eyes, which is most of our brain power, our ears, all of our senses, is focused out. We are not good at looking back at ourselves, and when we do, we often become defensive and feel judged. And it's very difficult at first to get people to take an honest look at themselves. And once they do, they learn to like psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is mind healing. I'm a psychotherapist. I've been doing psychotherapy for 50 years now. And as a psychotherapist, in my beginning years, I would ask myself, what the hell am I doing? When I began working, there was no health insurance. I'm going on 75 years old. There was no health insurance. People paid me cash for my service. I had to be good enough to earn that cash, and at the end of the day, I would look back and I would think to myself, did I earn what they paid me today? Because what they paid me was a substantial fee. Did I earn that? What am I doing? And I was unsure, and I questioned myself, and I did a lot of thinking about it. And I thought about, what is psychotherapy? Well, psyche is your mind, and therapy is healing. I'm a mind healer. And once that epiphany hit me, I knew what I was doing. I knew that my job was, when that person walked in my door and I closed the door behind them, my mission was to help them heal their mind. And the first thing I needed to do was to establish rapport with them. I needed to get on the same page with them. Then we needed to identify what the issues were. And then we needed to go about the process of mind healing. And that just made it much more clear to me what I was doing. And over time, I learned more and more. And what I discovered is I learned much more from the people that I worked with than I ever learned from books. I value my book learning immensely, and it gave me all kinds of insight into what I was working with and what the healing process was all about. But it didn't give me nearly as much information as I got from the people themselves. They educated me. They taught me. And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to take and I would say to them after I learned from them, is it okay if I take what you've taught me, not the book learning, but what I learned from your experience? Is it okay if I share that? And every single person said the same thing. Yes, I would like you to share it. I don't particularly want you to use my name or me personally, and you don't need to do that to share the lesson. And that's why it's lessons. The only time I ever got a person who said no was when it was a politician, and of course that's understandable. They don't want that. They don't want to risk any of that information getting out. That's fine. It never did get out, and by the way, it never has been a problem. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to share with the world what I've learned, and I won't be personally able to retire and kick back and and enjoy my retirement until I've gotten out of me what I've promised I would all those people that I talk to. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm doing lessons from that I've learned from behind closed doors. But let me also share with you who I am and who I think I am, because I think it's important for you all to know that and to know where I'm coming from. I think that I am 13.8 billion years old. That's when the Big Bang happened. That was the beginning of the universe. That's the birthday of our universe and the birthday of all of us. It's the Big Bang. I'm also 12 billion years old. That's the birthday of the forming of our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, in which we all live. I'm also 1.8 million years old as part of a continuous chain of human life that goes back 1.8 million years ago, when we know human beings were fully evolved human beings, even at that point. They were genetically human beings, Homo sapiens. I am Homo sapiens. That is my race. The human race is Homo sapiens. And yet when you ask people what race they are, they'll say things like Caucasian, African American, Mexican. That's not a race. That's a culture. That's an ethnicity. That's not a race. We are all the same race. We are the human race. We are Homo sapiens. And you know what? Most of the human race doesn't know that. If you ask a white person where the Caucasus Mountains are, from which Caucasian came from, they have no idea. Well, it's on the border of Iran and Russia. If you think you're Caucasian, I think you have some Russian or some Iranian in you. No, we're not Caucasian. We're Homo sapiens. And once you grasp that, everything changes. We are all the same race. There is no racism. And I'm on a mission to get rid of the word racist and to stop talking about racism, because it doesn't exist. We're all the same race, Homo sapiens. And these are the kinds of mistakes that human beings make in thinking about themselves. And because they make those mistakes thinking about themselves, they don't feel the self-esteem that goes with being fully human. To be fully human is to know that you're 1.8 million years old as part of a continuous chain of life. To know that we as human beings, as Homo sapiens, have occupied the whole earth. Every planet, every place on earth is occupied by human beings, one way or another. We are a magnificent race. We've gone to the moon. We've done magnificent things. We've solved the genetic riddle and got to the bottom of DNA and uncovered DNA. And interestingly, the man who started eugenics was trying to prove there were lots of different races, and what he proved it was only one race, the human race. And that's what I am. I am human. And one of the things I feel great about myself for is that humanity. And I think that's so important to teach our children, that each and every one of them is special and individual and unique. And as part of the human race, at my birth, at the moment of my birth, I was in a race. I was in a race with over 200 million other little sperm cells trying to get to my mom's egg, trying to get there first, and I won. I am a winner. And I think life ought to be a victory tour for us winners. All of us are winners. The very fact that you're here means you won that race with 200 million others, and that you're on the same victory tour that I am. I hope to see you on the victory tour, and every time I go someplace special that makes me feel great about being human and being alive, I do the victory tour salute. There's the victory tour salute. And everybody celebrating automatically does the victory tour salute unintentionally. Even blind people who, when they win, or win races, or win events, throw their arms up in the air. It is the fundamental human act of celebration and celebrating victory. I want all of you to know that you are already victorious. You're already winners. And your worth is not attached to winning. Your worth is attached to the spiritual miracle that you are. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to do anything to earn it. It's already there. That's the kind of self-esteem I want to teach. And because of that, I invented the self-esteem game. I'm now on the 4th edition of the self-esteem game, and what I've learned about self-esteem is that I really didn't understand it in my early years. I invented the self-esteem game in 1975 when I had my first child and when I started my practice. I knew that everybody that came in my door and wanted to talk to me behind closed doors wanted to leave feeling better about themselves than when they walked in. So I understood from the very beginning that self-esteem was part of my mission. So the very first thing I did when I started my practice is invented a game, the self-esteem game, that I could use to teach children. And I specialized in children, although I saw a lot of adults also and families. I specialized with children. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, just who I am and what I'm doing here. And there's just so many things I've learned that I want to share. I want to share with you how, for example, how contagious paranoia is, and how easily it spreads, and why it spreads, and what it is. I want to talk to you about depression. I want to talk with you about how we get depressed and how you can take yourself out of depression without having to use antidepressants. In my practice, when a person came in on antidepressants, they were going to be much more difficult to treat than a person that came in depressed that wasn't on antidepressants. And 9 out of 10 people that I treated with depression was fairly simple to cure. It's not a particularly difficult mission, but you do have to go to work at it. It is psychotherapy. It is mind healing. You've got to get into the mind and help figure out where that's coming from. Same thing with anxiety. And obviously those are the two big issues in psychotherapy, is anxiety and depression. But there's lots of other issues. I think one of the things I learned was how difficult it is for families because they don't understand how to do discipline systems. And all you have to do if you want to know how good people's discipline systems are is to go to their home and see their dog. I learned to go to people's homes and to watch their dog. If their dog didn't obey and wasn't disciplined, I knew that these were probably folks who just didn't know how to do it. And lots of folks don't know how to do it. I venture to say that most folks don't know how to do it. Most folks think that discipline means punishment. And when we talk about that in that section, I'm going to point out to you that I have never punished a child. I never punished any of my children. If I did, it was unintentional. And because punishment means I'm eliciting pain, I'm creating pain in you, and I want to create that pain in you to correct you. And I think the pain is going to correct you. Now, pain is helpful sometimes, and some of the consequences that I used were painful. But the intention wasn't to hurt, that's punishment. The intention was to correct. When your child knows that your intention is to grow them and correct them and make them wiser, better people, you're not punishing them. That's a healthy discipline system. So we're going to talk about all kinds of things like that through this series. Behind Closed Doors, lessons from 40 plus years of shrinking heads. We'll see you again next time.